Welcome to the Tachyon Pulse, your place for sci-fi news, rumour and debate. And Star Trek, Episode 9, Season 3. It's just a remake of The Arena. They're not even trying to hide it now. Let's get into it.
Our tachyon pulse has been unable to completely penetrate the anomaly.
There will be spoilers ahead. As soon as Ortega landed on this planet and they had the big flashback of her incident with the Gorn, I'm like, yeah, there's going to be a Gorn on that planet. And it didn't take very long, even though there was a big shocking bam bam bam. I'm like, saw that coming. This is 100% a remake of The Arena. Okay, yeah, it's a different storyline and it's a little bit more like Enemy Mine with Dennis Quaid, but, well, she's on a planet, they have to work together to survive, and the Metrons are in it. The Metrons are the same species that forced the Gorn and Kirk to battle on that planet in that famous episode. I just wanted to see Ortega like karate chop the Gorn, but yeah, no, we didn't see that, unfortunately. I'm lost for words with Star Trek Strange New Worlds at the moment. I mean, have they completely run out of ideas? That this is at least the second episode of this season that is a straight up remake with a slightly different storyline, fair enough. Let's say heavily inspired by, but has at least a couple of bits in it that are just straight up stolen from the original episode of the original series. Obviously, we've done the Squire of Gothos already, and now we've just done the Arena. Or just Arena. I just don't know what to say. It's just they are now actually taking the mick. I like Strange New Worlds, but we've been talking about how Star Trek Year One, the plan that Akiva Goldsman is really keen to do to follow on from Star Trek, which I assume would fill the gap between Pike leaving and the original series starting. That literally first year, Year One. And we worried that they were going to remake Star Trek, the original series episodes. They're already doing it. And now I am glad they finally came back to Ortega's PTSD issues and her issues with the Gorn. And they wrapped that up really nicely. I actually mentioned in the last video, I'm like, where's that storyline gone? I was actually really interested in that. But they've just not bothered. But now they've wrapped that up. What do I think about the actual episode? It's actually a good episode, and it does actually feel like Star Trek. Now, I did a video a couple of weeks ago saying that they've actually done 3 episodes in a row I quite liked, but then I had a rethink and I'm realising, okay, the episodes individually are good, but they're not Star Trek. And that was irritating me at that point. I'm like, why is there comedic episode after comedic episode, for God's sake? They're on about doing that like workplace sitcom with Tawny Newsome, and I'm like, you don't need to, because Strange New Worlds is already a bloody comedy. But this episode was actually a good episode. I did enjoy it. It just annoyed me that once again, it's a remake. Every episode of Strange New Worlds, there's something in there that makes me want to go, oh, for God's sake. But look, we got to see a lot more of Erica Ortega in this episode, a character I adore. She may actually be my favourite character in Strange New Worlds. I love how at the very start of the episode we got to see a lot of little models she's got, and there's a Spitfire, and I think it's a Wellington or a Lancaster next to it. It's probably more Lancaster. And then there's another model you see right at the end, which is the SR-72. Some of the prettiest aircraft ever built. The Spitfire is obviously the prettiest. That wins hands down. I'm not just, biased there because it's British. I genuinely think it's just amazing engineering. I like that she builds her own sort of like hover bikes and things. This is a character I just absolutely adore. Obviously, she got to work through her sort of fear of the Gorn through a constant self-narrative. Just talking to herself. As somebody that talks to themselves actually quite a lot, then I kind of do. Yeah, I do that. So, let's break the episode down a little bit. Division 12, she mentions, which is the division that normally would go and explore these things. I don't know what that's in reference to. Now, there was a Division 12 out of Starbase 12, which is sort of like a military thing. I don't quite know why they would go and do this, but it's the only Division 12 I can think of. So I'm not sure quite what that was in reference to, other than that military organisation. In the bit when Ashley goes through the wormhole, Ortega says, "I've got no engines, I've got no control," and she's clearly not operating the steering wheel that she's got for the shuttle. But it's clearly avoiding all those rocks. Didn't quite get that. How was there an atmosphere on that dead moon? She's wandering around breathing quite happily. I don't quite understand what is holding the oxygen down on that planet. And I know it's not really a big deal, but again, this is supposed to be a sci-fi show. At least try to have a little bit of science in there. Also, how close it is to that star. Even if it is a blue giant, which wouldn't give off as much heat as, say, our star, it's still giving off heat and massive loads of radiation. That close, they would be microwaved. Again, it's fine, but at least try. They're not even doing that. The whole thing with the vaccine, where the Enterprise has to run off and get the vaccine to the colonists, they've definitely done that before. And I think more than once. I can't remember which episode it is, but it is ringing bells. Like, there's a rescue mission. I think it was TNG, but I'm not sure. There's a rescue mission. One of the crew is on the thing and going to die, but they've got to get the vaccine to do the ship. And it was even, at whatever episode it was, they even had to go to another ship to rendezvous. They didn't just go straight to the planet, which I always thought, well, don't just go straight where you need it. But, again, it was Captain Decker of the, was it the Constitution? Oh, I've forgotten now. It was Captain Decker of that ship, which can't be the same Captain Decker from the motion picture, but I think that's who they mean. Can't be, though. He'd be, like, 12. There are bits in this episode, though, I did quite like. I like when the Gorn and Erica are playing chess and then the Gorn game. I actually thought that was really nicely done. I liked that bit as they were building towards, becoming friends. She then built the, or just before that, she built the yes or no universal translator. Find out the Gorn already understand English. Understand it but can't speak it. But I suppose you've got to have a vocal cords for it, and they growl a lot. But I liked that. The Metrons watching them. Again, straight up taken from Arena. It's not a species I don't think we ever got to see before, but obviously they're in a different part of the galaxy. I don't quite know how they managed to get the Gorn there, but I assume it was a similar method to how they trapped Ortega. I think they're basically saying that they detected the ship, they created the wormhole and basically sucked Ortega in. Could have helped her land a bit easier, but, I suppose the whole point was the shuttle needed to be destroyed. When that shuttle crashes, by the way, it's not on fire anywhere other than where they keep the food. That's bloody unlucky, isn't it? So, on the whole, this is another episode of Strange New Worlds that is actually quite enjoyable. If you just watch it individually, and if it was anything other than Star Trek, I would be like, I quite like that, it's funny, blah, blah, blah. It almost comes across almost like a Stargate episode with the humour, etc., which I would obviously like. But it's frustrating because they're remaking the original series, which they shouldn't do. They seem to have run out of ideas, which is weird because they're only 29 episodes in. They've barely done, or just overdone, like the 24 episodes that we would expect from Star Trek when we actually, remember liking it. Which is just frustrating as hell. If there was a 24 episode first season, the episode that you think, that's like this episode from blah blah blah, you'd expect it because they're doing 24 episodes a season. I mean, give them a break. But when you're only doing 10, come on. I think the creators of Strange New Worlds really need to stop and actually sort of read the room a little bit. I keep telling you guys, they need to do shows that appeal to Star Trek fans originally. Us that actually are going to go out of our way to watch the show. That is your foundation that you then build everything else off and attract new Trekkies. They're just ignoring Star Trek fans, and that's getting really, really old. Really, really quickly. But guys, get into the comments on what you think. Have you seen this episode? Did it frustrate you as much as it frustrated me, especially considering it's actually, if you don't think of it as Star Trek, quite funny and quite a good episode of sci-fi? Is the remaking of the original series a cardinal sin? For me, I think it is. I think it's kind of unforgivable. But guys, get into the comments and tell me what you think. If you are new to the channel, don't forget to like, subscribe and hit that bell notification. It really helps us out and you'll never miss any of our new videos. Also, you can become a member of the channel and get to see a lot of these videos before everybody else. Go check that out. As always, please stay safe, and I'll see you next time.
Our tachyon pulse has been unable to completely penetrate the anomaly.